Not much time has passed since last we spoke, but a lot has changed. Greg made the move from to his new hometown. How did that all go? Did he get settled in? Is he still standing on the street corner looking in, scared to go in? One of the biggest shopping holidays just finished up outside of Black Friday, which is Prime Day. What did we get? Did we find any good deals? Did we pass on any good deals? How did it turn out? Did we buy anything that turned out to be duds? So we're going to talk about all of that, and we're going to go into part two of our packing the trailer with tech that we started last week. We talked about different things for the outside of the trailer. Now we're going to move on the inside and talk about a few things. Um, how does that sound, Greg? What do you think about that?
I think it's great. Packing the trailer with anything at the moment is kind of my life, trying to get everything set up. And, my house is behind me. So,
Yeah.
I'm
So
excited to talk about it.
yeah, Greg made a few very expensive shopping trips, which, the Home Depot, for most of us, it usually is an expensive trip, but we're going to get into all of that today. So if that sounds good to you, then you're in the right place. This is Gadgets for Families. We're the tech show where you get two grandpas talking about tech. And one of the things that we love to do the most is tell you what to buy with your money. So I'm your host, Jay Benjamin.
And I'm your host, Greg Cunningham. And yeah, we have opinions, Shock, about how you should spend your money.
Yep. So
And Jason had opinions about how I should spend my money. And boy, did he spend my money last week.
right. I didn't expect you to buy so much. This list was kind of split between more of a long term thing, right? You can have a future trailer that you plan on buying that's like double the size. If you're still going with the one that you sent. But yeah, I didn't expect for you to buy so much from the list this time. So we'll see if that works for the inside of the trailer, which this one's a little more straightforward. So we'll jump into that here later. Before we get into all of that, thanks to everyone that subscribed, liked, shared. Let's keep on doing that, guys. We really appreciate you guys sharing this out and the comments. Keep the comments coming, especially this week and last week. And yeah. Let's just keep this ball rolling. So let's start with that catch up, though. Let's jump into it. So, Greg, do you want to share anything about the move? Are you all settled in? Are you still settling in? Are you standing on the street looking in, scared to go to your spot?
No, I'm not standing on the street. It has been different, right? So it
Yep.
has been, 20 years since I didn't own my home, right?
Right.
And so I was
Right.
telling Jason before, I had a water issue yesterday, and I had to remind myself that I don't have to solve these problems, at least some of them, right? With the trailer,
Yeah.
yes, but like the infrastructure for the site that we're in, I don't have to solve because I have a landlord. So
Yeah.
that's been different. It's going to take some time to fully settle in. I mean, last week I basically put aside almost all of the work and stuff like that and just said I'm going to try and settle as much as possible. So we've
Yeah.
rearranged, where we're storing stuff in the trailer. We've done a bunch of work on the outside, and like Jason mentioned, had a really big Home Depot purchase.
Yeah.
Jason had suggested the Ryobi stuff, and so I went and got in. I did get a couple of things. I got because my daughter has an apartment, right? And for the most part, her landlord should fix stuff, but you can't
Right.
count on landlords to come in and get stuff done immediately. So if I need to go over to her house, I sent her some of the stuff that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So per Jason's recommendation, I got the Ryobi drill and impact driver set, and then I got what turned out to be a really nice blower. Jason, it is really, really nice.
Yeah.
And then I ended up with, because the drill set came with 2 batteries, and then I knew I wanted a larger battery, so they came with the 1.5 amp hour batteries.
Yeah.
But I
Which is
knew,
good for drills and stuff like that, flashlights. But
yeah,
yeah.
only if you're going to do a little bit with them, though, right? Like I was working on a project a few weeks ago, and I had 2 1.5 amp hour batteries, and it wasn't enough because of how intense the power I was using, right? Because
Yeah.
I had like 12 screws I needed to do through metal. And so drilling through the holes into the metal and then getting the screws in, I was doing like one battery per screw. So, so I knew I wanted the longer one, but unfortunately you
Mm-hmm.
can't just buy a single Ryobi battery. They come in packages or kits. And so I ended up with
Right.
another 1.5 and then a 4 amp. But the nice thing is I got me a second charger, so I can charge them all up. And so yeah, that was part of the Home Depot purchase. And then we also bought a big outdoor storage box. So it's
Yep.
probably 5 feet by 3 feet wide by 2 feet deep, something like that. Because I forgot that when you get to warmer climates like this, that
Mm-hmm.
those stupid tree roaches like you have in
Yep.
Texas, right? That they
Yep.
are just all over the place. And the RV next to us has been here a while, you can tell, but I look underneath and it's got, stuff built up and the webbing and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And so Karen said, I don't want to keep our camp chairs and all of the stuff that we store outside. I just don't want to just set it under the trailer like we would at a normal campsite because it's going
Mm-hmm.
to accumulate all of that stuff. So we bought a box and that was expensive too. I mean, it was like $140 on sale, but it's
Okay.
a really nice
Okay.
box and it's got a place I can put a lock on it if I need to. Um, so
I was
yeah,
gonna
that
say I
was,
saw one at Sam's Club, but I think it was around that same price.
yeah,
So
this is
you got
great.
it.
I mean, this is solid. It actually has metal runners in parts of it so that it actually stays together. It's not like those cheap ones you buy at Walmart sometimes, right? That you
Right.
put them together and the first time you open the door, it falls off.
Yeah. It's all
So
wobbly and yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, this one's solid. So that was trip one to Home Depot. And then I know we're going to do Inside Tech today, but I lasted less than 24 hours without a second air conditioner.
Right.
So, I thought day
Yeah.
one, because it was 95 degrees in the trailer before we were able to connect to power and turn on the AC. And then it took it the rest of the day to cool down, which I expected
Right.
to have happen. So I thought, oh, it was just cooling down, but it did cool down. So we'll see how it does. But no, it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day when I went, okay, another trip to Home Depot. And so we got one of
Yeah.
those portables and I've got it venting out through the back window and I've got the back window all sealed up and locked
Yeah.
down and all waterproofed so that it can vent out and not let the hot air in and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's made a huge difference. The main part of the trailer now I can keep in the mid 70s. No problem. So
Yeah. Which is pretty good. But then you told me that the rooms were still about 10 degrees higher. So even if it's in the low 80s, man, trying to take a nap or something in that is probably going to be impossible. So, um, you said you had some ideas, so you're thinking about upgrading that unit because the unit
maybe,
the unit you got was actually one that I had been eyeing myself, just for to alleviate some pressure off of the generator when the power's out.
yeah,
It's the perfect size to cool, just like the living room. It's nice and slim. I liked how, I mean, we're talking a portable AC unit that was like this wide, and
yeah,
it's pretty tall, and yeah, I was curious to see how it went, and you said that it worked pretty good during the day,
it
even with all of
is.
the heat.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've hit 107. It's supposed to be 108 today. And
Yeah,
the one thing I forgot about these more southerly climates is the intensity of the sun,
right,
right? I mean, that's the problem. It's not the 107 degrees outside. It's the fact that the sun is just beating on the trailer. And it's
right.
basically an aluminum box, right? So that's the bigger problem. That's what causes it to heat up. But no, so here's the thing. So the trailer's just one big long box, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I ran the AC in the back because that's the area we spend the most time in. It's also got the most space. I couldn't fit this AC in the bedroom area or the bathroom area, but it
Yeah,
goes living room, then you walk through the bathroom to get to the bedroom. So there's basically a hall it's not a hall, but it's all one continuous thing unless you close the pocket doors.
right.
So the thermostat is on one of the walls in the bedroom. And what I realized is that wall goes down, and on the other side of it is the bathroom sink. And under the bathroom sink, there's a cutout in the floor that runs the venting,
Mm-hmm.
the electrical, and the water pipes from that part of the trailer goes down out. And so when I opened the cupboard the other day, it was so hot
Right.
in that
Right.
cupboard. And so I actually I'm going to get some insulation today, but I actually put a piece of foam around the part of the hole that wasn't consumed by the pipes and stuff. So there was
Okay.
a gap. There was a couple inch gap. And that actually seemed to make a pretty big difference yesterday. But because that thermostat is on that wall, that temperature in that bedroom is artificially higher, at least per the thermostat,
Okay.
than what it really is. I mean, it's still going to get around 80 degrees. If I I've got a food thermometer, like a meat thermometer. If I lay it on my bed, it's going
Mm-hmm.
to hit about 80 on the bed
Okay.
right there, right?
Okay.
But so one of the reasons I got the AC is it's got the feature where you can put the remote somewhere and it'll cool to the remote temperature. So I'm sticking the remote right up against that wall in the bathroom because that shared wall between the bathroom and the bedroom. So
Mm-hmm.
here's the bonus out of that. The bonus is my AC compressor at some point kicks on and doesn't kick off again, which is actually better for the AC, right? Than
Yeah.
getting
Instead
it
of it
hit with
going
that.
off and on. Yep.
Yeah. So the the one evening I was watching it, we were out doing something and it was still 105 degrees, but it actually got down to like 69 degrees in the main part of the trailer because there was so much cold air blowing in that main part of the trailer, right? But yet
Mm-hmm.
the wall thermostat hadn't got down to the point where the compressor would kick off and the remote for the other one hadn't turned it off either. So we got back. It was really nice in there. So I think this setup is good. I only have 4 more weeks, right? I only have 4 more weeks of this.
You're right. Right.
So if I can make it through those 4 weeks, and Home Depot's got a 90-day return policy. So if it gets bad enough in the next few weeks, I could just go upgrade to the next size up. But I really don't want anything bigger because this one, I had one of these portable units in our home
Mm-hmm.
and it was way, way, way bigger. And I could barely lift it to haul it up and down the stairs when I needed to put it in storage during the
Oh, it's
winter,
one of.
right? So,
Yep.
but this one my wife can lift this one, no problem. And I have to lift it once a day because I go dump the water, right? You have to go drain the water out of it. So I
Right.
do that once a day. So I really don't want anything that takes up more space in this. Plus, I've already got all the back windows set. So we had a tower fan, but it wasn't strong enough. And my daughter had actually bought a couple of fans to improve some circulation in hers. So I
Mm-hmm.
brought back the one she wasn't going to use. It's a Honeywell turbo fan that it's about a foot by a foot, right? That just sets
Okay.
on something. And it actually pumps the air back into that bedroom pretty good. So while the
Okay.
thermostat still says it's 83, 84, even got up to 86 degrees at one point, with that fan blowing straight from the kitchen into the bedroom, pulling that cold air. So it's blowing 75-degree air straight into that bedroom. So even though the thermostat's not dropping, if I wanted to take a nap back there, I think I could with that fan just
Okay. Yeah.
blowing on me. So I think the both temperatures. I think the main area temperatures are artificially lower than what probably they really are just because of so much cold air blowing in there. And I
Yeah.
think the bedroom one is just artificially high just because of the way the thermostat is set. So, but again, I only need to get through a few more weeks. So if I can do that without, spending an extra $100 on top of the 300 I already spent for
Yeah.
because you have to buy the AC and then I had to buy the 12 gauge extension cord, and then I had to buy a flat 12 gauge extension piece so that my power pedestal would close all the way rather than sitting open with the big, because 12 gauge wire doesn't bend. It doesn't bend
Right.
well, right?
Right. It is
So
rigid.
it was probably $350 all in by the time I got all the pieces to have it set up. So if I can get through, I'm good. And then absolutely the next trailer we buy, which we're going in a little different direction. We'll have to talk about, still a bigger one. So that's not a problem. But just the preview, they have what they call destination trailers. And I never really thought I'd want a destination trailer. They're designed to just be dropped in your spot.
Okay.
Because they're really heavy for a bumper pull. They're not a fifth wheel. They're really heavy for a bumper pull, but they're super nice. But what I didn't realize is how much cheaper they are than these big fifth wheels.
Really?
I mean,
Okay.
you're talking, we started looking at a couple that you're talking $70,000 less than what we were thinking we might have to pay for a big fifth wheel. Now, you don't get the exact floor plan. Some of the stuff's not as nice, right? But they are designed to be more residence, right? So like most of them actually come with a washer dryer combo in it
Okay.
and a small dishwasher in them. I mean, that's what you're talking about doing. So
So these are
we're
more like a trailer home versus
yes.
a recreational trailer.
Yeah, they are not they are if you're going to pull it and drop it for 6 months in one spot and then take it somewhere else for 6 months, it would be
Hmm.
okay. If you're going to move this thing every 2 or 3 months, you just don't want to do it cuz it's a bumper pull that weighs 14,000 pounds, right? So you have to have,
A little
you've got
tractor
to
trailer or big dually or something like that
yeah.
to move
So
it. Yeah.
they're really designed for you to have a commercial company to come
Yeah.
deliver it to where you want it and then you park it and leave it there. So we're starting to look at those because again, the idea is just to leave it here and to camp with this current one. So if we
Yeah.
could find one that works with us, the only catch is a lot of them don't have slide outs. And so you're really talking about 8 feet wide is all you get, right?
Oh,
All
okay.
of the trailer. So you're walking through the kitchen and you've got the counters or the stove or whatever, and you've got cupboards on the other side, right? And so you're
Yeah.
talking about a 2 foot walkway, so a little claustrophobic there. So we're looking at the ones that have at least a single slide out. So yeah,
Okay.
but it would just save us so much money. So
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of savings, but the build quality you said is not like the one that you sent. I don't remember the model of it, but I mean that was
no,
like
the
luxury living.
no
I was impressed with it.
the build quality is that good, right?
Okay.
The difference is that so like on that one that I sent you, I think it had 5 slide outs,
Yeah.
right? 5 different places where the trailer expands beyond the 8 feet by another 3 feet, right? And
Yeah.
those things are expensive because you're putting in 4 new walls, right?
Yeah.
Plus the mechanisms to actually push them out and pull them in, and then the engineering and everything associated with that. So that's some of it. They still look like they're plenty luxurious. I'll send you some links
Okay.
of some of the ones that we're looking at. And I don't think you'll see a quality difference between the two, but you will be able to tell that this one's designed for more permanent living. The others are designed for more, I'm not
Yeah.
actually living in it. So
Yeah. Just recreational. Like this is for the weekend or the next week or something like
right,
that. Yeah.
right. Anyway,
Okay.
so
So yeah,
yeah, so
we'll
that
get into that one.
the only other thing about the move is we already went to the pool a couple of times. Of course, now I can't go for the next 3 or 4 days because I split my head open. So we'll talk about the tech that I'm using in the pool when we hit the Prime Day stuff. But loving that, we bought a punch pass, and as soon as the punches are gone, we're going to buy an actual pass to it, and then pay from the kids. So
Right. Right.
random Monday last night, Kara was done with the kids by 3:30, and I had dinner ready when she came back, and then we went and saw the new Twisters movie. So
Okay.
thumbs up
Nice.
on the Twisters movie. It was intense,
Okay.
super intense. You remember the original?
I do. I do. And
Yeah,
looking at this trailer, it looked like it was more of the same, which is what they do with sequels now, is kind of give
yeah,
you everything that you remember plus more.
yeah,
So sounds like it was what I was expecting. So
yeah.
we'll go
But
check it out.
it was more intense. So anyway, yeah, more to come. We'll keep up to date on this. And sorry I went on a little bit. So
No, no, no. That's cool. That's cool. It was time to catch up. We wanted to know how the move went, and what at what point you are. So we'll keep everyone updated on that. Greg will still keep plugging away on things and getting settled in. So yeah, we'll keep everyone up to date. So no current stuff this week. It really was a slow news week, as they say. There are a few things that happened, but so we don't have any current stuff. The tiny tip this week is: did you miss your chance to get something that you really wanted on Prime Day? Well, there's good news. A lot of these deals are still active. Days and hours, after Prime Day was over, some of those deals stayed. At least some of the things that I was watching, some of the things I had on my wish list, We build a wish list of things that we want for the home and for the business and for our personal likes and stuff. So we just build a bunch of wish lists. And as I'm going through checking things, some of those prices are still the same and will stay the same. Well, some of the discounts would be the same because let's be honest, there were some good deals on Prime Day, but some of those deals were just the usual 10 to 15% off that comes up on whatever holiday is next, Memorial Day or Labor Day will be coming up, So a lot of these sales come and go. You'll still be able to get some of these good deals. So don't feel like you really missed the best deal of the year on Prime Day because that's just not the case. So add some of these items to a wish list that you want. It doesn't have to be like you're necessarily like I'm waiting for this price or I'm waiting for the best opportunity to buy a wish list. It can just create another wish list and just say deals to watch and just keep an eye on those deals whenever you open up the and I use the browser even on Safari. I don't use the Amazon app on my iPad. I just use Safari. But I'm sure it's the same in the app. So once you open up your list, it'll tell you if that price fluctuated. If it's $3 more than it was since the last time you checked it, it'll say it's $3 more. If it's less or 10% less, it'll let you know that this price has decreased, $4.50 since the last time you watched it, or since the last time you added it to the list, and that'll help you monitor these deals or not. So again, a lot of stuff you probably feel like you missed out because Prime Day is over, but just add it to a list and keep an eye on it. The price goes up and down. These deals come. And I complain about the discounts. Some of these discounts are still pretty good, right? 15% off is 15% off, but just because it's not there now because Prime Day was last week, check it again next week. I'm sure it'll be the same 15% off or 20% off or a coupon or something like that. All right. No follow up from last week. We like I said, we covered all of that in the in our catch up. So Greg, anything you wanted to add?
No, I'm interested. I see your list here. I'm interested to see some of the stuff you bought, and I didn't put my list in because
Right.
I was trying to. My wife had to keep reminding me that I was buying for our home, not for the camp trailer. Like when I went to Home
Yeah.
Depot and said, "Are you okay if I spend X?" and she says, "Yes, it's for our home." And then when I went and got the AC, she's like, "It's for our home, not for the camp trailer." So she had to keep reminding me of that. So my
Right.
situation was a little different. I know you've got a list here. My list is pretty big, and it's not that I'm saying, "Oh, I went and spent all this money." No, I mean, I needed to set up our new home. So,
Right. Because and again, anybody that's just listening, Greg is downsizing from a home which he spent years in to how much space is it? How much square footage
a
is it
couple
now?
hundred square feet.
So it's an adjustment. And we knew it was going to be an adjustment. We talked about this for months. Well, Greg and I have actually been talking about this for the last year or so. It's going to be a huge adjustment. So not only are you, just buying stuff for the sake of buying stuff, you're buying stuff because you have to do things differently than you've
Yep.
done for the last several years. So perfect example, we just talked about the portable AC unit. You
Yeah.
had one that was huge that you had to haul up and down the stairs, and now you have this nice little compact one that so again, not to keep going on about it, but you have to do things differently. So
Yep.
we'll jump into your list. My list is pretty short here, but I'll talk through some of the things. So the first thing I told you I was going to be on the hunt for was a case for my iPad. We went on a couple of trips, even when we're around the town or whatever, and I have to do some work remotely or work on something remotely. Um, I'm tired of using my wife's flower and hearts pink pink strap carry strap
Oh.
case. I look cute when I'm carrying it, but I was tired of it, and I wanted something more portable so I can put everything that I need in it and have everything. I looked and looked and looked all day, added stuff to my list, removed stuff from the list, looked at reviews, looked at YouTube videos of some things. I didn't find anything better than the case that you found. Not that I was, necessarily because if Greg purchased it and he used it, it must be good. Um, but I literally said, okay, I want to find something that's going to fit my needs, but still have that good quality. And didn't find anything better than the Tom Talk case that you got, Greg. So I ended up going with the same one, same color, I believe, right? You end up with the gray one, right? Or
No,
did you get the?
I got the green.
Okay, you got the green one. So I ended up with the gray one. So what I liked about it was it didn't jam everything to one side or to a pocket on the back or a pocket underneath the iPad. It had that almost that page in the middle, and it
Yeah.
had the different sections and stuff like that. So if you ended up with the case, great. That was a great recommendation from Greg last week. But that was nothing better. There was stuff that was the price was more. They gave you less features, less quality, less protection. Um, and even this one was, I believe, about $5 lower than the regular price. So um, really good, really good. So I jumped on that one. I got the gray one. It is really, really good build quality. I think it's going to protect the case, protect my iPad really good.
Yeah.
Um, when I have it jam packed with all of the stuff, all of the wires and all of the extra stuff, it doesn't squish that on top of the iPad, right? There's a
Right.
nice little padded page in there or flap that kind of holds all of that. And yeah. So I
Yeah.
went with it. I went with it. I got a good deal for it. Deleted all of that other stuff. There was one, and there was a couple of things about it that I not necessarily don't like, but I would have done it differently. But no, I'm happy with
Yeah.
it. I like it.
What I like about it is a lot of those cases are designed to be used in one way only. Your
Yeah,
iPad has to go here and your charger has to go here. And if you
right.
want any other accessories, they have to go here. Well, I've fiddled with mine. I've used the iPad in the front pocket. I've used the iPad in the back pocket. Sometimes I have the Magic Keyboard, the iPad in the Magic Keyboard. Sometimes I have the iPad in the case, and then I want
Yeah.
the Magic Keyboard with me, right? And so I like the fact that I can kind of move things around and mix it, match it to what I need to the point where when I start looking for like my headphones or something like
Hmm.
that, the first place I go look is in that case because I probably put them in there to go somewhere. And like church Sunday was great because I even threw my wallet in the
Yeah.
pocket so that I didn't have to have my wallet in there. So it was sitting in there, and I used the iPad Mini to sing during sacrament meeting. But then when we went in for our Sunday school, I took out the big one so I could have it sitting on my lap and have side by side applications and stuff like that. So it's I love the versatility.
Yeah. Yeah. So really good case. It had everything that I wanted, plus a couple of things. The only thing I would change, well, there's a couple of things, but just briefly, I don't like that the handle's on the opposite side of the zipper, right? Because I can just imagine myself forgetting to zip it up,
Zip it.
grabbing that handle, and everything just dumping out the bottom. I visualized that a couple of times, but if as long as I'm focused and I just make sure that I get everything in, get it zipped up, and not in a rush, shouldn't be a problem. But I would prefer the handle on the opposite side, the side with the zipper, but it would interfere with the zipper and things like that. So I can understand why it's structured this way, but other than that, yeah, no complaints. So that was a great pickup, and again, it was $5 off of the retail price. Not a huge deal, not a deal to make me not buy it, but I figured, hey, I may find a really good deal on Prime Day, so I just kind of held out. But yeah, glad I got it. The next one for me was an iPad stand. Oh, do you want to round robin? You want to go
Nah,
back and forth, or you want me? I'll
just
just
go
breeze through
through.
my list. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll breeze through. So the next was an iPad stand for me, and I wanted to like this thing because it's nice and compact. It goes into my carrying case with along with my other gadgets and things like that. But I think when the iPad is on there, it's just too top heavy, and my my final the last draw for me was last night. I was outlining the episode and I had it on a little desk stand or whatever, and I kind of didn't have the angle right, and I adjusted the desk a little bit, and my iPad took a violent like spill to the back and slammed on the back of the desk and slid down to the thing, and I'm like, okay, That's it for me. I knew it was top heavy. The base is real narrow. It's supposed to be a travel dock, right? A travel stand. It's one of those folding ones, and it folds down real small. The little wedges kind of fold down into the body, and it folds down to about an inch thick. And in order to manage that, the base of it is pretty narrow. It's pretty small. And again, a lot of these say iPad, they're designed for the 11-inch or who were they, the 9.7-inch tablets that were smaller back in the day, um, iPad Mini and things like that. So when you start talking about your big Samsung tablets or the iPad Pro, the 13-inch, you kind of have to get things that are specifically designed for those, right? Because there are still tablets, and most things that say, a generic tablet holder or stand or something like that will work. These get pretty heavy. The screen technology they put in them makes them pretty heavy. The batteries, the huge batteries they put them in, makes them pretty heavy. So usually, if you're looking for something tablet wise for your iPad Pro 13-inch, or even if you have one of, like I said, the Samsung, the bigger ones, I believe they're the A14 or A13, you kind of start having to go with stuff that are specific for that item. So
Yeah.
I'm going to get one that's specifically for the iPad Pro. They have heavier bases, heavier hinges, wider bases, things like that. So that one's going back. That was kind of a bummer because I got it for a good deal. Again, not cheaping out, but it was like 50% off of the regular retail price, and it worked on a nice, steady, stable desk. But anytime I'm adjusting it and moving it, that's not going to work. And I need it to be portable because in the shop, I have a tablet stand that was for my old iPad Pro, and it's nice and stable. It holds the iPad at the height I want. Um, my setup here, I'll talk about that here in a moment, but it has a stand and it keeps everything nice and stable. So this one was specifically to be mobile, and it's not going to work in that use case. So it's going back. The next thing I got was the ESR iPad Pro case. And again, this one's for the Pro case, specifically for the iPad Pro. It has the new magnet orientation, so it magnetizes to the M4 Pro, but I didn't buy it for a case. So immediately I got it out of the box. I tested the magnet on it. It had the nice strength that I like, and I cut it up into little pieces. So why did I cut it up into little pieces? Because I used the magnet part of the case as my VESA mount
Yep.
for my setup here, and it works perfectly. I just set it on there. It holds it nice and snug with the magnets, and it's just like it's connected to the thing now, so I can't really put it out and show you. I had a video that I put together making the old mount, and we never put it out. It was a short because I changed my whole setup kind of midway, so we never put it out. But um, I'll see if I have that old video. I'll make some adjustments and we'll put that out as a short so you can see what I mean. But I mean, it's perfect. It has one of the VESA mount arms. I just put my iPad on it, and it just kind of floats there under the screen. It's nice and stable. I don't have to worry about it getting bumped or falling off or anything like that. So the ESR iPad Pro case for the 13-inch M4 Pro was another one I got. Great deal. It was I want to say maybe like 25% off or something like that. So it took a big chunk out of the case. No, it was the regular price was $29, 25 bucks, I think, somewhere around there. So yeah, it was a really good deal. I'm glad I picked that one up. So the next one, we had an issue in my house where again, I think I mentioned this several times before. If you're an OG listener, I don't know if my kids are eating the iPhone chargers. Right? If you just get it and you charge your device, then it should be connected to the outlet where you left it, right? But there's always a case where they're coming in and they're like, Mom, Dad, can I use your charger? Well, what do you mean? Where's the charger? So I get up, I go and look. Well, where's the charger for the Apple TV remote? Someone removed the charger for the Apple TV remote. And, it's a nice black, flat charger that kind of, it sits in a little dock so you can charge your remote like sitting up. And I'm looking, I'm like, well, where's this charger? And I go in the living room to a spot where my wife usually charges her laptop, and she has USB-C to Lightning connector charge there. Well, where is this one? I'm like, okay, someone is eating the chargers again. So so Anchor had tons of deals, which
Yeah.
Anchor. Greg and I both, we love Anchor. We recommend that brand pretty highly, guys. If Anchor, if you're listening, please we'll sponsor the show. We'll send some chargers out to our friends and families and stuff, and share the experience we had. But yeah, so they had a dual USB-C, USB-A, 20-watt charger kit. It was a pair, a dual kit for $10, and I saw that, and that was like over 50% off. It was like 55% off or something like that. It's one of the lightning deals. So, um, uh, anybody that shops Prime or Prime Day, about, there's the deals, there's the Prime Day deals, and there's also that section with lightning deals. And these are those deals they run for what, like an hour, Greg? Some of them are like 4 hours. And you have to get in and add it to the cart and check out within 7 or 8 minutes, or maybe it's 10 minutes. Put it in your cart because they're selling them like hot and fast, right? So if you just add it to the cart and think you're going to go back later that day and check out, it's not. It's one of those deals you have to add to the cart and check out right then. And yeah, it's a pretty good deal. So we got a couple of those. Uh, Gave one to my son, and I put one in our tech closet in the living room. And I told him, I know in 10 minutes you're going to lose that one and come and looking for it. So come looking for that one. So I'm going to put it in here in the cabinet. So I'm sure he's used both of them by now. Again, I don't know where they're going. It should be connected to the power outlet, but
Yeah.
they're disappearing. So.
My favorite charging brick is I've got an Anchor dual USB-C 47 watt. So one will
Yes.
do 20 and one will do 27 watts. I love that thing. It's actually running both of my HomePod minis in the trailer,
Okay.
so I didn't have to use two bricks and a power strip. So
Nice.
yeah, I've got
Nice.
them both
So
plugged
that
into
was a
that.
Black
So
Friday score for you last year. I remember.
yeah,
I
they
think,
had it
yeah.
on sale again over Prime Day, and I had a second one in my cart, and then I just decided I didn't need it. Here's the other thing. Normally, I would have bought that and knew that I'd find a place in my house where I could use
Right.
it, but I just don't have places to use stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But good deal being able to charge both HomePods
yeah,
on
I
that.
mean, I used to have charging. I used to use it on my nightstand here in the trailer, and I had my Apple Watch, the high-speed charger for the Apple Watch,
Hmm.
and that little Anchor can, right, that charged my phone and had the wireless pad on it.
Yeah.
It used to do both of those too. So that's where I
Okay.
used to have it, but I didn't need it quite that way anymore. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the next thing I got was for upcoming project. I think I mentioned before that I have a Pac-Man arcade, a full-size one. It's still at my mother-in-law's house in her garage because my garage is jam-packed with company stuff, and there's no room. But focus now. I told Greg we're slowing down between now and September when our business at the end of September. I'll say October when our busy season kicks off. I'm going to slow down, less markets, less work, more family time, more time with the sons, um, and more time for that personal project. So I bought a digital multimeter to help me determine, continuity and circuit issues and things with fuses and stuff like that. But this is a digital one, and I saw the pictures and stuff online, but it literally looks like an iPhone Pro in a rugged case and like one of those thick, like life proof cases, like the ones you would use for like camping and stuff.
Yep.
So it looks like a cell phone in a case, and the whole screen is digital. It has some manual buttons and stuff on there too, but looks really cool. Looks really cool. And that was another one that was like a really really good deal, like 45 to 50% off of the regular price. I was in the market for a $7 a $7 multimeter, like, right. I really didn't want to spend a lot on it for a tool that's really, I'm not an electrician. I'm not taking it out to do jobs and stuff like that. It's really going to sit in the garage to what I'm doing simple projects. The other day I had to check some fuses in my wife's truck. I'll tell you about a problem later with that. the worst problem you can have in the summer in Houston. But I needed a multimeter then instead of pulling out each fuse, and so it would have came in handy, but it didn't come in till the next day. So I scored one of those, but um, not really a big deal. It came out to like $9, so I think it was $13 with taxes and everything, and pretty good one. I got it, tested it out. It looks really cool.
Cool.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I know I went on about some of the other things, but I wanted to really go into this because I wasn't sure how this was going to work, right? It's kind of one of those things where, like, do I really need something? Do I want to just test it out to see? So I want to get one on Amazon for $10. And if it works out the way I want it, then I'll invest in something a little more expensive, which is how things usually go with me, right? Amazon's return policy is usually pretty good. Greg does the same thing. We'll test it out. Nah, it doesn't work quite as well as I thought. We can send it back. I can drop it off at a Whole Foods, Greg. I think you probably do the same thing, or UPS store or something like that.
You know, in Nephi, it was UPS.
Okay.
Here, it's Kohl's.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You can drop off at Kohl's and Ross here in Houston. They have the little boxes and stuff you can drop them off. So
yeah, here you have to walk. They do it at customer service, which of course is in the very far back corner of the store, which means you have to walk past everything. So they
right.
probably get business out of it, and they probably get a little from Amazon for doing it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they're leasing that space and electricity and stuff they use. So and yeah, you walk through the store, you're already replacing the product that you're returning with the Kohl's product walking in. So returns are pretty easy. So I've used a mouse before. It was called Black Web. It had a little Black Widow on it. It was a portable mouse. It kind of twists to make it into an arc mouse, or you can lay it flat. It was Bluetooth and it was Wi-Fi, and it was great. It had touch gestures on it for as good as a budget mouse would work with touch gestures for iOS, and it got me through some nights and stuff like that. So one of the Black Friday deals I found was a Logitech. It's called a Logitech. I think it was a Dot. Anyway, it was one of their micro Bluetooth mice. Nice, cool colors, nice popular colors, things like that. Some touch capacity, but it had the two buttons and a roller on there, optical mouse, so it didn't have a roller under the bottom. And good Prime Day deal. And I'm like, I should get this because one, I wanted to get away from the trackpad, and I'm not going to go with the Apple brand. So I don't want any more of these little trackpads that just aren't compatible. They don't scroll the right way. They're jerky. So I want just a portable keyboard and a portable mouse. So I already went down the road of testing it out. I had the Logitech one in the cart, and I'm like, wait, why don't I just go with what I know is going to work? So I went with the Magic Mouse from Apple, and I got the black one. So it's the Magic Mouse 2, actually, not the original one. And man, does it work flawlessly with my iPad Pro. The touch gestures work just as good as the trackpad, the touchpad on the keyboard that I had, the Apple keyboard, the Magic keyboard that I had, and yeah, it's smooth. It works like butter. It works like almost as if the same company that designed my iPad designed the mouse. So I mean, it works flawlessly, and I'm really impressed with it. So I don't know if anybody has considered using, because again, they put the Magic Trackpad and the Magic Keyboard, and if you're going to spend the outrageous amount for that, there's nothing else that's going to work better, right? Greg and I had the conversation on the episode. We talked about the iPad. Nothing's going to work better than that keyboard, right? Yeah, no mouse works better than that Magic Mouse for the iPad. So if you hadn't considered it, if you don't type a lot, like me, right? I'm only going to use the keyboard a couple of times a week, but I'll use the mouse daily, and I have used it daily for internet scrolling, even to reply to a couple of messages, although that's, you're scrolling around and typing out the message one by one. But if you're just replying back a simple reply or something like that, um, again, scrolling the web, making a few adjustments, changing settings and stuff like that. This Magic Mouse has worked wonders for me, and I'm glad I purchased that. It was a really good purchase. So if
Yeah, I
you're,
had one. I had one for my Mac
yeah,
for a
yeah,
while, and then I just stopped using mice and I just used the trackpad on the because I actually like the MacBook keyboard, right?
right,
So I
right.
don't have an external keyboard for it, so I just use the trackpad. And I love the Magic Mouse; it was great.
So think about it this way too, because I'm not. I'm actually thinking maybe I should have went with it because they have a Magic Trackpad separately, like they do the mouse. I was actually considering one of those. So if you're in a work position, right, which we're used to, right, you're have it at a desk or on your lap and you're typing away or whatever. I'm using it in more. So think about my setup the way I wanted it, right? I bought the portable stand, right? I have the keyboard sitting in front of it, although I'm still using this keyboard, but I'm going to purchase one without the trackpad on it. So it's going to be a mini keyboard. And I can sit back with the mouse still in my hand, and I can use the mouse on my lap and still control the iPad and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm in a more comfortable, not necessarily a work position, right? Because when you work, you want to be comfortable sitting upright and have your hands in front of you to be able to type at the keyboard or access the trackpad. But this is more of a lounging like position, right? I'm sitting back in the chair in the living room, and I have the keyboard, the mouse on my lap, and I'm still able to function and control the iPad from a more leisurely kind of a lounging position, and it worked perfect. Like I said, I've used it almost every day since I got it. So I would say if you're not going to use it for work, you don't need it to be sitting, at a desk or something like that. Then give the the Magic Mouse a shot for your
Yeah,
iPad. It's really worked out great for me.
I've got the Black Magic trackpad too. It's phenomenal. So I don't use it right now. It's in a box somewhere.
Okay.
But yeah, it's great too. So same concept, right? I could just set it on my leg and do my thing if I wanted to. So
so so how do gestures work? Have you used it with the iPad, or is just
yes,
for your?
no,
Okay.
just on the Mac, but it's gonna be the same, right? I mean, it's just like using a regular trackpad. There is no difference,
Right.
and it
Right.
also had that fake click, right? So it had the it's glass, so it doesn't move, and it still
Right.
had the accelerometer click and all that kind of stuff. So it's just they basically took the one out of the MacBook and made it a standalone. So
Okay. So I'm thinking I might have to get you to test that out for me whenever you get some free time, some downtime. I know you got a lot going on now,
I got to
but
find it first.
yeah, yeah, whenever you get time. But I want to specifically know how the iPad gestures work, right? Closing the menu, because now on the mouse, I still have the gestures where I can scroll back and forth on like the browser. You can exit menus and stuff like that by swiping left and right,
Right.
scrolling up and down. Those work, and it's weird because they work anywhere on the mouse. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I thought they were just in the front like you would like a third party
Yeah.
mouse, right? But no, anywhere like so I'm like leaning back and I'm on the top of the mouse, the top half that curves, and all of the gestures work just fine. But I'm curious how like the four fingers where you can swipe back and forth between apps, because I use that a lot on the iPad and I can't get it to work on the Magic Mouse. But will that work on the trackpad? Which it should.
Should.
It should.
It should. Yep.
So, but yeah, so that's the only thing I'm thinking. Maybe I should have went with the Magic Trackpad instead of the Magic Mouse. But man, I am loving the mouse. I am really loving it. So,
Well, I got to go back up to Nephi and get stuff out of storage. It's in one of my office box. I got a bunch of stuff that's got to come to the storage down here. If I find it and dig it out, either I'll test it or I could even send it to you to test. So,
okay, okay, and yeah, I'll if you're not going to use it again, of course I'll pay you for it. I'll buy it at a Prime Day price. So,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, so that was my haul. The only thing I'm disappointed with again is the stand. It would work perfectly if I had a smaller tablet, but just a Pro. I just feel so insecure using it, especially after that spill yesterday. I don't want that to happen on concrete. So that's going
Yeah.
back. But everything else, I'm happy with. But Greg, let's get into your purchases because again, I was telling Wendy I didn't expect Greg to buy almost everything I had on the list because I really, you know, really kind of balanced it between future and present. Right? You bought the things that you needed immediately, and then some of the stuff was like further on down the road, kind of things. Once you get settled and you figure out which trailer and things you're going to buy, but um, let's talk about what you pick up on Prime Day.
Well, other than the AC, right? I didn't buy anything that can't go to the next trailer,
Right,
right? And
right,
technically, even that portable AC, if I needed to have 3 or 4 ACs in the other trailer, I could still do it, right? So, but actually, the other thing I got thinking is that might be good for like an outdoor space too. Like if I get a little gazebo-y kind of thing and
yeah,
put it up,
yeah,
that it could do it too. So, anyway, but beyond that, so a few analog things first. So, when you don't live in 100 plus degree temperatures and you're just working inside and, in the AC all the time, I generally could wear, maybe some people say, well, this is gross, but I could generally wear my pants or my shorts 2 days,
right,
right? And not
right,
have to wash. Well, I realized
right,
I've figured out before we even got here that that was just not going to happen
yeah,
in this weather. And in fact, I think I go through like 2 or 3
yeah,
pair a day, right? Kind of thing. So,
yep,
so I got a whole bunch of my shorts that I wear. Wear the Wrangler brand because I have to have them a little longer. But I think I bought like 6 pair because they're usually like $27 and they were on for like 18, right?
okay,
So, and all of my other shorts, because I wore them all the time camping, they had grease and dirt stains and all that kind of stuff. So really going out in public in those shorts was just not
yeah,
the best thing. So yeah, so we got a bunch of those. We bought a bunch of swimwear for both Karen and I because we plan on swimming. Again, I've already
okay,
been twice and loving it. So we bought a bunch of swimwear. Talk about needing to do things different. We bought a steamer for
okay,
clothes because we don't have an iron or an ironing board. That's
right,
just not
right,
practical. So we bought a steamer. Works really, really, really good. Um, I've got a telescoping ladder that wasn't supposed to be here for a couple more weeks. Is actually showing up today as well.
okay, cool,
So yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, and then let's see. We bought a black tank treatment for the trailer. This is the stuff you put down in your waste tank so that it sort of doesn't smell, but also helps dissolve all the
yeah,
stuffs.
it breaks it
Um,
down and makes it easier to drain. Yeah,
the brand we wanted said they were going to have a big discount on Prime Day because they wanted to be the #1 RV product on Prime Day, and
mm-hmm.
they were. So we bought like 3 months worth of it. So
Okay,
that's good. What else did I buy that was analog? Some sticky tape, some shelving that's got 3M backing, right, that I can put on the walls.
right,
An air purifier. Bought an air purifier.
okay,
So yeah, those were the kind of the more analog things I got on Prime Day.
okay, cool,
So
cool. So the purifier that you got, was it a smart one or it wasn't a smart one?
no,
You
no,
can monitor the okay. Which I
nah,
say smart. They're smart um, air purifiers and stuff, but really they just tell you when to change the filter, when it's on, when it's off. There's not really much smarts to it
yeah.
other than, you know, hey, it's time to change your filter.
This one will tell me when it's time. It's like 2,000 hours for the filter, so
Okay.
that's pretty good. Yeah. All right, so I think my favorite deal I got is so I was trying to figure out my swimming solution, right? So I
Yep.
bought that clip that I was telling you about. It's the H2O. It's a clip for the Apple Watch. It's really ingenious how they clip it in. Goes on your goggles band, so it sits on the back of your head, and then it's got the waterproof headphones that come up to your ears. I bought that. It was like 50% off. So it was a screaming deal.
Yep.
Um, Works like a charm. I don't have any of the problems that any of the folks have said so far, right? So um, but as I was thinking about, okay, I really didn't want to take my Ultra and put it in that. Um, I think I might have mentioned this last week, but we did buy Karen a Series 9
Yes.
Apple Watch because it was $120 off. Went with it. great. That was actually setting those two watch up, and then her old one for me to use in that clip was one of the reasons I decided I needed a second AC, because they wouldn't charge because they were too warm.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, more air. So that was probably the best deal. That swimming combination, like I said, I've been twice. It just works flawlessly. You turn on the thing, you go onto the watch. You have to manually connect it. It doesn't seem to want to auto connect, so I have to go in and manually connect it. I start whatever I want to play. It took me a minute to get all the podcasts and music and all that kind of stuff
Right.
kind of set the
Right.
way I wanted it, but I think I've got that dialed in now. And now, of course, I can't go for 3 days. So,
Yeah.
I bought one of the things that's on your list for inside. So we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Yeah.
Um, I bought the Eufy camera system that you recommended, and come
Hmm.
to find out, this is a follow up from last week. It actually is fully HomeKit compatible. I say that it's compatible, but viewing live video through HomeKit doesn't work for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, if I've
Yeah.
got it set up wrong or something like that, but it does work with iCloud secured video. So I bought the base and the 2 camera kit, and I bought a third camera. Third camera is going back. I've decided I don't need it, so I've got one on my front door
Right.
and one on the other side with my bikes. Um, I've almost got them dialed in the way I want. I had to reset up the bike one yesterday in the
Okay.
evening. I had to resync it because it wasn't working right. So, but now it's working just fine. And I was going to keep the third one and just use it like when we left for multiple days or anything like that, and put it on the
Hmm.
inside. But I realized that if I go on a trip like that, I'll put the bikes in storage. So I'll just bring the
Okay.
bike camera
Right.
inside and set it up inside. So I sent that one back. Um, but they are great. I really enjoy them.
Hmm.
They're definitely getting their workout. The one of them, the where I've got it sitting right now, gets the sprinklers every morning at 4 a.m. So,
Right.
so yeah. So, but I'm loving those cameras. So, if
Okay.
you're looking for
Good.
something that's HomeKit enabled, um, that's a little flexible in the mounting and that kind of stuff, this was an amazing deal. So,
Yeah. So, and remember, that was my second choice. So, if we're going to recommend HomeKit cameras, though, Arlo is probably the number
yeah,
one choice. Arlo, Logitech, because my doorbell cam is Logitech. And, but yeah, Eufy is a company that has grown. Like we saw them making like just little generic kind of import, knockoffs of Arlo and a couple of other companies too. Now they're making full blown their own exciting product line with
yeah.
multiple different types of cameras, battery powered, cellular powered, things for like disaster recovery and stuff like that. And yeah, Eufy has came a long way, um, and they make some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I think
Disappointed though that it's not working in HomeKit like it should.
Yeah, I don't know why the live video won't show there, but everything else does. The recordings go in fine. The
Hmm.
settings are working fine. The alerts are working just fine. It's just when I tap to view the live video, it's
Right. So
not playing
maybe
nice.
in the Euros, maybe we need to prioritize or do some like uh what do they call it, like the QoS, the quality of service, and kind of just prioritize that traffic on the network. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe there's some adjustments that we can make.
I may have to turn on bridge mode on the Eero, right? Because right now I don't have it turned on, which means it or the T-Mobile gateway could
Oh, they're
be
both trying to
determining.
route. That's the problem.
Well,
That's the problem.
but everything else works fine. So I don't know. Let's
Yeah.
troubleshoot that later. But
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm glad you like them, and I'm glad they're battery powered and still in
yeah,
HomeKit secure videos. So
yep, yep. I bought some cable management stuff because I've got like my network corner where the Eero and the T-Mobile and the Eufy gateway and all that stuff are in the corner. So
hmm.
I bought this kit of cable management stuff, and it come with ties and sticky clips that you could run the cable through, and then it came with a bunch of sleeves. So I cleaned up a bunch of my cable stuff over there. And then
Okay.
I bought these little magnetic cable clips and I sent these to you because
Yeah.
I'm loving them and my wife's loving them. So her power strip for all of her charging stuff is down on the floor, and then she sets it up on a little set of drawers that are by her bed. Mine is down on a little shelf, but it's way down low. And then I've got a shelf where my computers and stuff sit. And so we have 3 each that we've put
Okay.
right up there. And so it holds the 3 cables that we need, because she needs 3 and I need 3. So it's
Yeah.
holding them all. They don't slide down. They don't end up down in the middle of the shoes or underneath the thing or down behind anything. They just stay right there. And if you pull hard enough,
Okay.
they just pop open, right? They just pop up
Yeah.
and then you put it back in. So those were a really, really, really cool find.
Yeah,
So
I liked them. I have just a cheapo rubber version of that I use for cable management out in the shop. And I saw those. I was tempted to buy them, but I'm like, I already have I even
yeah,
have 3 more in the pack. So I would just be
yeah.
buying something to replace something that's pretty much working, as it should, if I'm not, constantly having to adjust the cable and stuff. So yeah, I did
Yep.
like those. They were really cool.
Yeah. I bought the Govee lights you recommended. I bought the pack of 4, and then I bought a motion sensor to go with them because I thought I
Yeah.
was going to need it. Those have all gone back. So I
Right.
returned the camera. I've returned the Govee lights and stuff. They were really cool, and they went right into the app. But the problem that I had, and I saw a lot of people had the same issue,
Mhm.
is that when I connected them, it's a single wire, and you connect each one into its own socket
Yeah.
in the wire, right? And I got them all connected in, and all 4 of them were flickering. And I thought, okay, there's got to be a scene or something else
Yeah.
going on, but there's not. And the only time I could get them to not flicker was when I turned the warmth down. Like, it was one particular setting. If I turned it clear down, and it was a
Mhm.
certain color, that they wouldn't do it, which does no good.
Yeah.
But then what I thought was funny is that if I unplugged them and plugged them in a different sequence, then different ones would flicker and others would stay stable. And so I got to the
Okay.
point where I could get 3 of them to stay stable, but then I plugged in the 4th one and then 2 of them would start to flicker. Right.
Mm.
So it was just they were messed up, and there's tons of reviews of people saying they had the same problem, and Govee
Yeah.
basically said, well, we just have to replace them. They said potentially you had a power problem, but I've got so many power protection things in place,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I even took out my multimeter and tested the voltage,
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting 117 and change.
Right.
So, right, I mean, it just shouldn't have been
Yeah.
an
Especially
issue.
with LED lights,
Yeah.
which are low power anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the power coming into them, you don't have dirty power going through the trailer at all. So,
No.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, so those
that's
went
kind of a
back.
bummer.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some more, but what I'm looking for now is a smart LED strip that
Yeah.
is got 12 volt, and I sent Jason a couple of options. The problem is most of them are designed for people that have boats and want to have like the neon party lights on
Yeah.
their boats, right? And so what I
Which is
can't
not great
tell,
style.
no, so what I can't tell is, can I tone down the neon, right? Can I get
Yeah.
them to be normal colors and stuff like that? So I'll be exploring that, because I was on my roof the other day and I looked at, there's an LED light strip on this awning up here,
Mm-hmm.
just a white one. And it's just 12 volt, and the wires are right there. And so my thought is if I could find a smart strip, that I would just wire the smart strip into those wires going into the 12 volt system,
Right.
and not the white one. So I'm looking for a strip at this point, but I would like it to be smart, not just one that, like most of them, you could go in and you could do a single color on the whole strip. But that's
Mm-hmm.
not what I want, right? I would rather have it to be whether I could do like a Christmas light pattern or something like that, because that was
Yeah.
kind of the point of all of this. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So I did find a 12 volt relay, which has awesome reviews. It works in HomeKit. You can control all the lights. So we'll talk about all that. That one, it probably won't be like a huge, like hacky kind of solution. This one should just work. Everyone that I've read on Reddit, a few other reviews, they say it just works. So
okay,
it's
we'll take a
that's
look.
a good one. Yeah.
Then I think the last thing I bought, and I haven't really set them up yet, partially because they got to do some work on the pedestal here for the power, but I bought I didn't even think this could exist, but I bought an outdoor weatherproof power strip. So it's just 2 plugs
Okay.
with a 10-foot cord, but it's got a flat 90-degree plug, right? Which is important for
Okay.
me to be able to
Yeah.
close on the pedestal. So that's good. And then I bought, it's a 25-foot cord, but then it goes to, it almost looks kind of like a birdhouse kind of thing, but it's got 6 outlets. I think it's designed for like Christmas lights, right? So it's got 6 outlets with the
Okay. Yep.
doors that go down so that when I do decide to do more lighting and stuff like that, I've got plenty of power options to run from the pedestal, because I'd rather not plug them into the trailer, right? Just run them from the 110 and the pedestal
Right.
to get it out there. So yeah, I'm
So,
excited about that. Like I said, I haven't really used those other than I plugged in the power strip just to check it out.
right.
But yeah,
So are those smart where you control those? Because like you say, like
no,
Christmas lights and stuff. So now I
no,
really think that was an opportunity for you to buy, a smart like switch. And I have a couple of them here. They're not HomeKit, but they're still smart. So you can still create scenes or add timers or um, put them on a schedule for like, again, like we say, Christmas lights, or like if you get some of the blow up things for the grandkids and stuff like that, you can schedule them to come on and off.
yeah,
Does this one allow you to do that? Does it have a timer on it or anything?
no. But most of the Christmas stuff, like I have had those in the past, right, where they've got a day
Right.
night sensor, and then
Right.
so they'll just come on when it gets dark and then stay on for like 4 hours or 6 hours or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
either way, this is whether I use them for that kind of stuff or not. These two were designed to help me get power from that pedestal out
Hmm.
here to the front. So let's say I want to bring in, a power tool or something like that, or I need to charge a bunch of stuff all at the same time, or even right now. So like I didn't think about bringing this out here right now because I haven't got it set up, but I've got power for my camera, for my laptop, and the fan that I've got going out here. I've just got
Hmm.
it plugged into my standard power strip, my indoor power strip. But when we get
Right.
the new trailer, potentially one of the bonuses of these other trailers we're looking at is they have like a covered port kind of thing on the back.
Yep.
This would be something that I could just put out there and always have there, right? So I'm
Right.
not having
Right.
to bring the power strip out or any of those kinds of things. So they were not expensive. Like um the six outlet thing with the $25 cord, it's $43 regular, but I think I paid 26 or something
Okay.
like that, right? And then
Yeah.
this outdoor power strip that's weatherproof that I think is hilarious that the advertisement for it has it sitting below a sprinkler while somebody's mowing the lawn. Um,
Oh, they're really confident in themselves, right?
yeah, it's only $17 right now, and I got a deal on it, so it was like 13 or something like that. The other thing I liked about this power strip is that it's also shockproof. So apparently they've set it up so that if somebody were to stick something in it, it's not going to shock them. So like if the
Okay.
grandkids stuck something in it or something. Anyway, so
Right.
but these were two cheap ways that I figured I could get power to various locations in my around my home, right?
Okay.
Outdoors. So
Yeah, you're right. I guess when you're dealing with power tools or plugging in a fan, you don't really need it to be smart. You don't really need
right.
to control that. But I'm really urging you, everything that you buy needs to be in HomeKit and be able to be controlled remotely, or
Yeah.
put on a timer or something like that. So,
Yeah.
all right.
That's it. That's my list.
Okay. So some pretty good deals, and like I said, with the tiny tip this week, a lot of these things still have deals, right? They still have some kind of percentage off or a coupon or something like that, or find an equivalent product that has a good deal on it. You didn't really miss out much on Prime Day unless you were buying actual Amazon equipment, right? They had some
Yeah.
huge discounts on their Alexa devices and those Blink cameras, which I don't recommend to anyone. Um, a lot of their security stuff too, the accessories and things like that. Their Echo devices with the screens and stuff, they had some really good discounts on those. So, but outside of that Amazon first stuff, all of the products that they sell from third parties or people sell themselves on Amazon, those discounts, they come and go. So you'll be able to get a lot of those deals. So But yeah, so that was Prime Day for us. Let's jump into packing the trailer again. Now, we ran long last week, right? We had a outside, an inside, and a segment where we were going to talk about power management. We were going to get into some power stations and generator alternatives and solar lights and stuff like that. So we ended up splitting it into three parts. So this week we're going to continue that and talk about trailer tech for the inside of the trailer. Now, not much to buy on this list because one, Greg already already owns it, already purchased it, or is just not available for purchase yet. And another thing that we're going to have to kind of work around and find a different alternative for. So focusing on the inside of the trailer, I talk about here in my home a huge space saving technique that I use is using wall and ceiling mounts. I always say that word wrong. I'm sorry, I'm country, y'all. Wall mounts. um, so you're going to hear that come up again a few times on this list, but because it saves so much space, it cleans up certain areas where you don't have wires running down along the side and across the floor and things like that. Um, so I'll just start it off with Greg already owns HomePods, right? And that's the smart speaker that Apple uses to control to listen to music, news, things like that, stories, podcasts, and you can also control smart home devices by using the announce word or the wake word for that, which is built into the iPhones. But he, quick story, he owned two, downsized, gave one away, and then
Gave two.
moved.
I
Got
own.
to
Okay, you got to get the story right because it's even more
right.
dramatic. I
Yeah, yeah.
owned three.
Yep,
So
yep,
I actually owned 5 HomePods. I had 2 regular HomePods that were on the nice big 4K 75-inch TV. That whole setup is now at my daughter's.
yep.
Um, I realized how much I miss the sound of those big HomePods.
Hmm.
Rumor has it next year we're getting a HomePod with a screen, so we'll be talking about those when they come out.
Yep,
Then I had a stereo pair in my bedroom that was attached to my smaller 4K TV. And then I had a single in my office for music because a lot of people will play music out of their computer speakers or put on their headphones. I just like it
yep.
to come out of the HomePod. So I had
Me
those.
too.
So again, my daughter took the 4K, big 4K with the big HomePods. My son took the smaller 4K with the smaller HomePods. And I was left with the single mini, which was fine for camping, right? I mean, it just
Yep.
wasn't that big of a deal. But then I started watching TV more often or trying to listen to my music and stuff, and I just realized, okay, I got to have a second one. So,
So
yeah,
what does Greg do?
I went
He
and bought
goes
the
and
second
buys.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
So,
back to a stereo pair of HomePods. So
yeah,
which I thought was pretty funny, but again, you don't want to give them to the kids and then take them back and be like, "No, Dad needs this stuff." So you went in and bought a couple. And one of the things I recommended was some mounts for those to get them off of the counter, free up counter space, right? Because space is at a premium, right, in the trailer. So you don't
yep,
want to have anything sitting on counters that you can use for something else. And so I recommended two HomePod mounts. They were wall mounts or ceiling mounts. My idea for it was to mount it on the ceiling, knowing Greg is too tall and he's probably going to bump his head on it all every day that he's walking in. But Greg found a perfect spot for him. Send me a picture, and you have them mounted underneath the frame for the television. I mean, and they're sitting there, and it looks so cool. I'm like,
yeah.
that is the coolest thing ever. So, uh, so that's
They
something on the
sound
list that he already bought.
they sound really good. The cool
Hmm.
thing is, as we're walking out, one's right by the door. So if something's playing as you're walking out, you can just tell the assistant to turn it, or you just tap underneath it, and it turns it off. The other thing I like about this is I don't get the glow because anytime you activate these and anytime they're active, there's
Yeah.
just a hint of a glow, right? And so I don't see that nearly as often. But yeah, I had them. I used the sticky stuff to start with. That they started to come off, so I did end up mounting them. And the reason I didn't mount them on the ceiling is drilling into the ceiling. Like I had to put in a different smoke detector the other day, and
Yeah.
putting a second screw hole. I'm always worried about what I'm drilling into in the ceiling. But underneath that
Right.
frame was solid wood, I could tell. So I drilled it.
Okay.
I did not use the screws that came with it. The screws that came with it were like an
They
inch and
were
a half long.
outrageous,
Yeah,
right?
so I used they're just not that heavy, so I used some other screws that I had, and they're mounted. Sounds phenomenal, because the home pods will adjust depending on where you put them. They'll know if they're up against the wall. They'll know if they have
Right.
open space. They know how to project. So yeah, they're great. I'll be interested to see what happens if I get one if they come out with one with a screen, how that's going to play into my space. But
Yeah.
I should be in a different trailer by then too, so we'll see. What'll
So that was
happen?
one oh, go ahead.
What'll happen is I'll get the ones with the screen, or I'll get one with the screen and one without. Hopefully, they compare together, right? The bigger ones
Yeah.
for the larger living area, and then these will go to the TV in the bedroom in the new trailer. That would be cool.
Okay. So that was one of my concerns too when I was thinking about it, because so for example, the Alexa I have in here, it mounts to the ceiling. The glow for that one is at the bottom, so it's upside down. So the illumination goes against the ceiling. So I know when that corner is lit, when it's lit blue, it's listening. When it's
Yeah.
white or yellow, it has a message or whatever. So it's the opposite of yours. But one of the things that I was concerned, the one of the Alexas in the living room, it's on a shelf against the wall, and that's the one. I say doesn't listen because no one listens in my house. That's the one that doesn't listen the most, and I believe it's because of the wall behind it. So, but I completely forgot. You just reminded me that they do adjust themselves to
Yeah.
know if they're against a wall or against. So that's the difference between Apple's technology hardware and something that's cheap, meant to spy on you and sell you products and stuff. So that's a huge difference. So that was my concern, was will it be able to hear you give commands and stuff from from one side of the trailer, or if you're yelling from the outside or something like that. And you said that there's no problems with that. It kind of
Yeah.
hears you
No.
pretty fine.
Yep.
Okay. So the next thing I had on my list was, and I'm not married to this brand because I told myself after the incident with my daughter's TV, for anyone who don't remember the story or don't know the story, my daughter's TV went out, and month 15 of a year, they give you the 12-month manufacturer's warranty. Month 15, her LED lights went out on her brand new 4K TV. I'll never buy another brand outside of Samsung or maybe Sony or something like that ever
LG.
again. Yeah, LG, which is my TV in the room, never had any problems with it. It works great. So yeah, LG, Samsung, and Sony. I'm never straying from those three products again. So I mentioned this one because again, we're talking about space saving, and the Sony Bravia series of TVs are some of the thinnest and lightest TVs on the market. Now there are some outrageously expensive Samsung ones if you're willing to spend 10-11,000 for a television. You can really get a super thin one, but in a more consumer friendly price range, these Sony Bravia TVs are some of the thinnest and lightest ones. So again, not married to the brand, but we have to get you back on a 4K TV, Greg.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm waiting for the trailer, because the new
Right,
trailer
right.
will come. Here's the thing: all these trailers come with TVs,
Yes.
right? But they're junk.
Yep.
So they're designed for specific space. The one that I would get in here is in a weird, like 45-inch or 42-inch class. So it's a
Yep.
weird class to start with. But
Right.
that is on my list to have new TVs in
Yeah.
the new trailer.
Yeah.
So
So and when the new trailer comes, and I don't know, we hadn't talked about your timeline and all of that, but we have too the whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the whole holiday shopping season. You may be able to score some really good prices on some really
right.
good brand TVs then. So don't rush right out and buy one. And again,
No.
I'm not married to the Sony Bravia, but we have to get something thin and light, right? Because those mounts are pretty low
Yeah.
profile as they are built into them, and you need something thin and light for that little section. So
Good thing about
definitely,
TVs is you get Prime Day, Black Friday,
yeah,
and
Cyber
Super Bowl.
Monday. Oh yeah,
And
oh
Super
yeah,
Bowl.
yeah. Around the Super Bowl, yeah, they
Yeah.
do. They drop those TVs down to get them in people's homes and
Yep.
stuff like that for the game. So, but yeah, so you have plenty of time. But yeah, we talked about it a couple of times, and you mentioned like you just watch it on your iPad because it's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So Apple TV mount. You already have the Apple TV. I know again when it's laying on the countertop, you have the HDMI, you have the power cable coming from it. Um, just more cables to manage, just more space to manage. So mounting the Apple TV on a wall, and I have one in my living room, and it's right next to the TV. It just frees up a ton of space, a lot of counter space and stuff like that. So an Apple TV wall mount would be um, you know, a good space saving thing for you.
Yeah, the Apple TV is hidden currently behind that TV because there's a little bit of space back there, but it's just sitting flat. And so I actually added this to my cart. We use this at
Hmm.
church, but we got the kind that'll actually mount to the TV itself, right?
Right. They
And
do have
so,
some of those. Yeah.
and what I'll do with this one is I've got some 3M sticky tape that I'll
Okay.
just use instead of screws on this one. The Apple TV shouldn't be heavy enough at that angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I added this one to my cart, and I've added it's called the 12 South Time Porter wall mount display for Apple Watch bands. So it's a little thing you just put on the wall, and then your Apple band slide into it. So I've added that. I've had that in my wish list for a long time. I've added it to the cart too. So
Hey, send me a link to that because I have been looking for an Apple Watch solution since we talked about it before because you had a junk drawer full of watch bands, right? You sent me a picture of, and I told you mine are just on the little ledge, like the little ledge you see behind me with my controllers and my iPhone and stuff. On the opposite side of the room, on that same ledge, is just piles and piles of Apple Watch bands. So no organization. I can never find a band that I want when I want to wear it. Like I say, I always switch my colors up. I still have my orange one on because my Astro shirt yesterday was orange. And um, whenever I go back to work, I go in the shop, I have to put on a darker color so I don't get oil stains and stuff on it. So I change my bands a lot. So there are certain sections. There's over here in the corner in the room. There's on the nightstand by my bed. There's on the in the kitchen on the little bar. There's some there. There's some underneath the television on the TV stand. I have watch bands everywhere. So send me that
I
so I can
just
take a look at it.
I just sent you the link. There's a whole bunch of other different kinds of them right now.
Yeah,
I think this one I like because it's got just because of the way you put them in, and plus
yeah,
12 South makes really good looking
yeah.
stuff. So
They make really quality products. They've always had, and they make Apple's quality products for a third company, third
yeah,
party company. They made them just as good or better in some cases. So
yep.
but yeah, watch band solution that totally slipped my mind. I should have been looking for that on Prime Day, but I'm going to take a look at that one. The next one, of course, is not out yet. You have a Nintendo Switch, but as soon as the Nintendo Switch 2 announces, you're going to be buying that plus a wall mount for that. And you
Now
can't really see it.
for
Oh,
the first time ever, I'm gonna pre-order a game console. So you're gonna have to help
right,
me make sure I get it on day one.
right. Yeah. So I'll jump on too, and because that's how I end up scoring my Xbox. I had my nephew and my brother helping me get that on day one. But if you can see here, probably in the corner, you can't see, but this is a Nintendo Switch mount, and it's a mount that I can hang the controller, the Joy Cons from, and it has space for all of the games and stuff in the front. Not all of the games, but it has like maybe six spaces, the space to put. I'm almost certain that within the first week or so, they're going to have something similar for the Switch 2, depending on the form factor. Of course, no one knows how it's going to look, but people are sure it's going to be a base, just like the same with the screen, and you kind of mount it. So um, you'll be
Here,
getting a wall mount and stuff for that too.
I don't think so. So here's the thing: the dock for my Switch is in storage.
Okay, what are you using now?
I don't play it on the TV. I just play the Switch portable.
That's
And
right. That's right.
I got the Mario Special Edition Switch,
Yep.
and it came with the case that's Mario 2. And so I just put it in the case and it sits on the shelf.
Okay, that's right. I forget you like to game on the Switch itself,
Right.
whereas me, I'm the opposite. I got this Switch. I played Zelda. I maybe played 15 minutes portable. The 40 hours or so I put in, it was all on my television. It was yeah, okay. So Depending on the style of the mount and stuff like that,
Yeah.
or the system, you may or may not, ever need to mount it, right? It may
Yep.
have a portable kind of mount, or they may do away with the mount completely, or just have a dock to charge it or something like that. So we'll see. But that's on the list because, I would think that I would want that to free up counter space and stuff too. So the next thing I have is this LED strip light. So similar to outside when we talked about. So the lights that I chose were different from the light switch because they project the light onto your trailer is mostly white, even though it has like the black accents and stuff. And projecting the light onto the wall like I do with my landscape lights outside, it adds more depth. It adds more like a dramatic look at night, right? So that's why I went with the spotlight. So when it's blue, it's not just like a little strip of blue along the edges or
Right.
whatever. It's shining blue along the side of the house and stuff like
Look,
that. So
if those had worked, I would have kept them.
yeah, 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 and not if they're going to be having issues and stuff because again, you'll buy them and then 1 month out of the warranty, you know what I mean? They're going to start flickering and stuff again.
Right.
So and remember too, just like the Eufy stuff, Govee was my second choice. I prefer the Hue lights, right?
Right.
So for the inside, um, they don't have to be waterproof. They don't have to be splash resistant and stuff. These can be the regular strips. I'm gonna recommend those Hue lights. Well, no, again, I forget. I didn't recommend them because you have to have a hub, and we wanted to eliminate hubs. Right. You don't want to have a lot of different hubs to have to plug into the router and stuff like that. So Govee is still my choice. The inside lights, you won't have those issues with flickering and stuff like that. And these are to go in those areas like under the bar, under like the sofa and stuff like that, just to add lighting around the back of the TV, where you can sync like with the videos and stuff that you're watching and stuff like that. So um, there's a few different systems that you can use, but Govee has the most complete, right? Because they're
Yeah.
just like it's a bummer that those outside ones didn't work, but on the inside, these strips in strategic places will add a lot of style, a lot of and not that neon look that we're trying to avoid on the outside of the trailer.
Right.
These have like where you can set warm and like really like cool lights, between cool and warm settings or whatever to be able to focus. Because I noticed too with the lights, even the lights in the room, and these are Govee that are in the room now. Um, Hue or in the living room, which I swapped out for because Hue was in here. Um, Way more control over the Hue lights, but these still will allow those different levels of lights where it helps you focus, right? They have focus modes and like reading modes, or like just like a relaxing kind of color tones and stuff like that, and they really help change the mood of the room.
Yeah.
So yeah, so some Govee light strips and different links in the on the inside, I think will work out.
These are going to be. This is a next trailer purchase for sure
Right, right.
because you got to be able to plug them in. So you got to know
Yeah,
you have outlets where you're going to use them, and there's just no need for that with the camping stuff. We
yeah,
have little puck lights that you press that are battery powered that we put in certain places. As a matter of fact, I've got one sitting out so I can mount it under our bed lifts up and there's storage underneath it. I'm just going to stick one of those down
yeah.
underneath there, but there's no way I could plug anything in down there, right? And so that'll
Right,
be
right,
a next trailer. And at that point, I may not care about having a couple of additional hubs because I'll probably have a place to put the Eero and the T-Mobile and the other stuff, right? It'll be a
right,
little
right.
so. Yep.
Yeah, and these are a semi-permanent solution, right? Because once you stick them, they'll
Yeah.
stay sticking until you want to move them somewhere else. But yeah, in the next trailer, that'll be more of a permanent fixture as those lights. And then plus, like you said, um, you have to figure out where you need them the most, right? If you notice you're using puck lights here for, you know, late night bathroom trips or something like that, then being able to have a light strip down there to kind of, go to 5 or 10%, tell Siri to turn it on for, 5 or 10%, and then it'll go off, or like a motion sensor or something. Like I said, I use here in the closet. I just open the closet door and the light comes on, close it, and it goes off like, 5 or 10 minutes later. So the next one was cool. The next one was when we started talking about trailer tech. This was something that was always on my list. Um, then we started talking about like the power requirements and stuff like that. And these are some that I found that would work. Now there's some at IKEA that I would use here in my home because they integrate into the Hue hub. Right, I don't have to buy an extra hub with those. They can just install in the Hue hub. And I like when companies do that. Right, they kind of piggyback off of each other. But these are smart wave shades, right? They're um, designed for the trailer, and you have to pick the system that works best for you. But they open and close, and they can go into HomeKit, and you can say, Siri, open the shades, or have a what do they call that? A routine or a scene where you can just
Scene,
say,
yeah.
"Good morning, Siri, good morning," and it opens up the shades and turn on your music and all of that. I thought it would be a cool thing. Again, I would use it here in the home, but I would need something more of an external solution, something that's just going to turn or pull the shades open. This is more of like a built-in, like custom solution, but still really cool, really cool. How are you? Are you having to manually go and do the shades now, or does it have something where they're electric, or you press a button,
No,
or how's it working?
they're you pull them and they've got a spring and stuff in them, so they work fine.
Okay,
I mean, it's typical RV stuff. The
right.
um, so, but yeah, this is something I'll definitely want to look into. Right now, we're also having to adjust because I want as much natural light in the trailer as I can, but
Hmm.
depending on the time of day where the sun is, I'm having to move or put in or take out the Reflectex, which is a stuff that pushes the light or the sun back out, so it doesn't warm the trailer up as much.
Right.
So I'm having to put that in the windows and stuff, and that's a solution. I've actually got more of that showing up today. So we're going to cut everything exactly for the windows and know which ones go where, and
Okay.
so that's something that I have to do right now, just because. Actually, I think in any rig you do that when you're in a climate like mine, in
Hmm.
any RV, because they're just, even though the ACs will do fine, they're just not designed to let that 110-degree sun bake in through this giant window. In fact, a lot of
Right.
the like these destination trailers I was talking about, they have dual paned windows instead of single paned, right, to
Yeah.
try and help with some of that kind of stuff. So this is something I'd look at in the new rig too.
Okay. Yeah. And this was one of those solutions, along with the power on it that we talked about last week. Is one of those things where I'm like, it was probably not going to go on a trailer, even though you have one that works like that now. But um, like I said, one that's going to work with in home kit. You can have scenes. You can be able to control them from the home pods and stuff.
Right,
I think that'll be cool. And also too, setting it on a schedule so you don't have to remember to
right,
go and adjust it. It knows at this time of the day to open or close the shades up. I think
right.
that'll be really cool. So that
Yep.
was something that was always on my list when we started talking about trailer tech. So this last one I had, well, the last one on this list, I have a couple of more things that we'll talk about, but um, bad news on the thermostat. So I saw originally looking at it was gonna work with 12 volts. The Ecobee thermostat has these little satellite sensors that you can put in different locations. I think you can connect up to four of them. It works in HomeKit, works with Siri flawlessly. Um, I don't have any problems out of that as much as I have with like other company products and stuff. This one, you tell her to set it to a temperature, she sets it to the temperature, and you move on with the rest of your day. Really, really good. Um, it's just not going to work with the 12-volt system in the trailer without some kind of really hacky workarounds for it. Now, if you're at a point in your life where you like to tinker and stuff, which you do sometimes, but I know you said, you're past that point now, especially with the trailer tech. This is not something you're going to want to tinker with every week, trying to get it back on the network or wondering why it's not connecting or there's delays and stuff. So unfortunately, the Ecobee thermostat is not going to work in your case for the trailer.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. So here's the thing about trailer systems is that the furnace runs all on 12 volt,
Yeah.
right? So the fan spins up and all that kind of stuff. It's propane. So
Hmm.
that runs 100% on 12 volt. The thermostat runs on 12 volt. But then the
Okay.
AC unit itself is 110. right? Because it just isn't
Okay.
going to run on 12 volts. And so when you
Okay.
talk about a thermostat, your thermostat is all 12 volt because it's telling both the furnace and the AC what to do. And then, of course, the AC, when it's told to kick on, draws from the 110. So
Right.
what I did find, it's not smart in terms of, I can't use an assistant with it, but I just sent you the link to it again. But this is a
Okay.
company called Microair. They make the easy starts for ACs and stuff like that. But
Right. I've seen it.
this is a Wi-Fi based replacement. So at the very least, I could go into the app and see what's going on through the internet and turn it up or down. And then it's got some additional controls because the thermostat I have currently is fairly dumb, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
either on cool or it's on heat or it's on fan, and then you've got auto low and high for the fan settings. That's all you can do. I can't even tell it to, hey, turn on the heat at this temperature, but turn on the AC at this temperature. It's not even smart enough to do that. So, but this is the replacement for it. I have not purchased this one yet because I don't know which thermostat I'm going to have in the new
Right.
trailer.
Right. And
Right.
this is
And
for the
so,
new trailer, not for this one.
yeah, I don't think I need this one if this is going to be my camping rig, right? I don't necessarily need it to do anything because, like, if it's in storage, I'm not going to have it hooked up to power, so it's not like I could tell it to turn on at
Yeah.
85 degrees and cool down the trailer or any of that kind of stuff. This is more of, let's say we're gone for a week, right, and we're headed home, and I know it's 85 degrees in the trailer, and we're 3 hours out. I can go onto the app, tell it to turn on the AC, drop it back down to where I want it, right? And then by the
Yep.
time I show up, it's at the right temperature. So it's
Yeah.
semi-smart, but this is probably the better option, at least for right now. We'll see what comes with the new trailer, right? I mean, timing-wise for the new trailer is probably still the first of the year, which means we'll be getting close to the 2026 model releases. I saw a 2025 heater prototype where it was gas or electric, which would make me super happy because I just hate the gas
Right.
heaters. But anyway, so there's a lot of that. So this one, I think I would go with more of something like this.
Yeah. I don't like that price tag. Not for what it does. You know, you know what I
I
mean?
agree with you, but there just aren't
Yeah.
a whole lot of options.
And that's how they you know, it's for trailer stuff, it's trailer tech. They can mark the price up because the um the target customer for that,
And there aren't
RV
10,000
and
companies, right?
yeah,
There aren't 4,000 Chinese knockoffs that you can
right,
go
right.
purchase.
Yeah.
So,
So I can see everything that's just trailer related is going to have a hefty price tag for it
yep.
too. So, all right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was getting you on a NAS, network attached storage. And we talked about it before. You didn't seem interested in it. I know you bought an external hard drive um, for your Mac back when we were saving the shows and you were managing all of those files and stuff. You needed more space. I still think that may be a good solution for you in the trailer. Now, maybe not necessarily a QNAP or I forget the name of the other company, the other
Synology.
Synology. Maybe not something like that, an actual external enclosure. But remember, I told you there was a Western Digital one that's like an all-in-one solution or something like that,
Right.
or maybe something where you can one of these Amazon companies where you can dock external drives into it and treat those all as a NAS system. So maybe something like that. And I kind of thought of the same issue when we were talking earlier about the HomeKit streaming the video and stuff from the security cameras. Maybe the Eros is just not up to the task. You know what I mean? So maybe consider upgrading that one, and it has like a USB port or something for and stuff. And like I said, this is all long-term stuff, and this is all fixing problems that aren't necessarily broken, right? This is the exact reason why I didn't buy some of the stuff on my list is because I have a solution that's working already. You don't necessarily need it now, but maybe when the consulting and stuff picks up, and then we're still doing the show, and then you need to be able to access your data remotely while you're not at the trailer, right? You're having to commute to one of those those offices that we talked about where you rent office space or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
Just keep it in
I
mind.
I all I really need is an Eero with a USB-C port that I could plug a hard drive into,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I am pretty simple in my setup, right? And I know I'm pretty dependent on Apple. I used to have Backblaze, but I
yeah,
turned that off too, because when I got my new Mac, I realized that everything I have is in the cloud, right? I
yeah,
mean, there was just nothing that was only stored on my hard drives. And so the only thing I do is once every couple of weeks is I plug in, I've got two external hard drives, one for Time Machine backup and one
hmm,
for that I move all of our podcast stuff because it takes up so much room to it. So every couple of weeks, I plug the two of those in. I move our old episodes off onto that. I leave the new ones on. I run the Time Machine backup,
yeah,
and I'm set. So because when I set up this new Mac, all I did was, I just I didn't even restore from backup. I set it up brand new and just said, okay,
yeah,
here, download everything, right? So it's
yeah,
not like I'm needing to restore and that kind of stuff. So I understand what you're saying. Really, I just need to come up with, I just need a router that's got a USB-C
yeah,
thing. And I don't need, I mean, Eero is overkill for the amount of space. I mean, I love how it
yeah,
works. I love all the stuff that I can do with it. Technically, I could get by with the T-Mobile gateway doing everything and probably be uh, just fine. But I like the convenience of the Eero. So
yeah. Did the
anyway,
gateway not have a USB port on it? I think we
no,
checked the day we talked about it. Yeah, it didn't
no,
have one. And like I said, this is a solution for a problem that you don't really have, right?
right,
It's just the convenience of it. You won't really get any other value out of it, right? You stream everything. You don't have like local media like I do. Um,
yeah,
Me and my wife, we have to watch our old episodes of Cops. We have to have our we have
yeah,
to have our old episodes of a show that doesn't play on air anymore, or at least the older episodes don't. So that, and we keep a lot of documents and stuff, and all of our family pictures. Where you use iCloud for a lot of that stuff,
yeah.
anyway. So yeah, it's a solution for a problem that you don't have. But
If
we'll
I
get you
just
on one.
if I have to, I will. But I like the fact that my life is simple enough that I don't
Yeah.
need it right now.
Okay. Well, and that was all I had for the inside tech. I know we're going to talk about um, power management and stuff like that. But again, changing the system that you have or adding to that in this trailer, with it being questionable whether or not it's going to be temporary, or you guys going to keep it just for traveling to other campgrounds, or how you're going to use it. We'll put that off for another time, because we're talking like solar panels, power, not a power wall, because you can't have like a full like power wall, but we talked about like those eco flows and things like that, and
Right.
the Ryobi solution. So we'll talk about that another time. But that was pretty much all I had for the inside tech in the trailer. Anything that came up that you're thinking about that you want to share with us?
No,
Something
but
you're thinking about exploring?
I have one thing I want you to look for me.
What's that?
So one of the struggles that we have is I don't like to leave the water on when I leave, which means I have to go back and manually turn a valve.
Yeah,
So what I
yeah,
would like is a smart Wi-Fi enabled water valve that connects into a garden hose,
yeah.
so that if I forget to do it, I can go on the app and turn it off.
Okay, and there are a couple. There was one that I was looking at that that I decided not. I didn't want to do. We'll talk about it, but yeah,
Yeah.
there is a solution for that I found. That of course, looking at the reviews and stuff, no one had any major complaints about it outside of just the regular old connection issues. But we don't know how those people's networks are set up and things like that. So I eliminated almost all of my dead spots when I switched to this mesh system. So it kind of runs like yours. You should have total coverage, so it shouldn't be an issue for you too. So, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll look into that, and the relay too. We're going to talk through that the relay for the LED lights for the outside
Okay.
to get those
Cool.
in HomeKit. So that's the show this week, folks. No post show. We were going to talk about some 80s music, our flashback. thing. So we may either put that off to next week or the week after, but we will come back and talk about some some old school music. Greg and I had a conversation before. I don't think people realize how much music influenced their lives. Well, I don't think people realize it. I think a lot of people do realize it. Um, what we don't think that people realize is the power that music has over your life and how that affects your mood and your behavior and things like that. So I started off just thinking about some fun music that we used to listen to, but I think that that's going to go a lot deeper when we do talk about it, and we're going to talk about maybe some emotions or some periods in your life where music kind of helped you through tough situations or made situations a lot easier than they should have been and things like that. So
Or
um,
made them
it's
worse.
yeah, or made them worse, or made them worse. So it started off with me just saying, me and my wife listening to Def Leppard yesterday, and like, oh, I can't. This is one of my favorite Def Leppard songs, and my son was in the back. I'm like, listen to this song, you got to hear this. I think it's going to be a little more deeper than that, a little more in depth, not anything super philosophical. Again, we're going to try to keep it light, but I'm going to rework that. So rather than just banging through a list of cool Whitesnake and Def Leppard songs, we're going to have a bit more of a conversation. So we'll save that for next week or the week after. Greg, anything planned for next week? The show?
No, haven't got there yet. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Usually we'll talk it through during the week, and we'll usually settle on something the weekend. And I'm usually writing it the night before because I'm trying to trying to get everything done that I can get done within a day. So, but again, we'll be back next week. We'll have a good show for you guys. So thank y'all for listening. And Greg, you want to close us?
have a great one.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bye, folks.
Thanks, everyone.